What if I told you that some of the biggest action stars didn't just fight on screen, they fought tooth and nail off it too? Behind the explosions, the muscles, and the larger-than-life personas were desperate actors doing anything to grab the spotlight. Some faked scandals, others courted danger, and a few crossed shocking moral lines, all for a shot at fame. Their paths to stardom weren't built on talent alone, but on secrets, manipulation, and sometimes pure chaos. These are 15 action stars who did anything to be famous. 15. Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage didn't just chase fame, he wrestled it, burned through it, and rebuilt it over and over again. He's known for saying yes to almost every movie offer, and that's no exaggeration. From blockbuster hits to bizarre indie projects, Cage accepted roles that left fans wondering if he was fearless or just desperate to stay seen. At the height of his career, he bought castles, rare cars, dinosaur skulls, and even haunted houses. But those same wild spending habits led to massive debt, forcing him to take on any film that came his way. Each new role felt like another roll of the dice in his obsession with staying relevant. Cage pushed himself to emotional extremes, screaming, crying, and transforming in ways that made his performances unforgettable, even when the movies weren't. He became a symbol of excess, chaos, and raw passion, proving that fame sometimes demands not sanity, but sheer unpredictability. Nicolas Cage didn't just want to be famous, he wanted to be impossible to ignore. 14. Mark Wahlberg. Before his fame, Mark Wahlberg's life looked nothing like a Hollywood success story. He grew up in a rough Boston neighborhood, dropped out of school, and got caught in a violent lifestyle that nearly ended his future before it began. After spending time behind bars, Wahlberg realized that if he didn't change, he'd be forgotten forever. He reinvented himself, first as Marky Mark, a shirtless rapper and model who shocked audiences with his bold image. But that wasn't enough. He wanted respect. He trained, studied, and fought his way into acting, proving he wasn't just another celebrity gimmick. Movies like Boogie Nights and The Italian Job turned him into a serious star, while action films like Shooter and Transformers secured his status as a powerhouse. Behind his success was relentless control. He built his own production company, chose his scripts carefully, and reshaped his image into a disciplined, unstoppable force. Mark Wahlberg didn't stumble into fame. He earned it the hard way, turning his dark past into fuel for one of Hollywood's most surprising rises. 13. Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel's rise wasn't just about muscle or voice, it was about power. From the moment he entered Hollywood, Diesel wanted full control over how he was seen. When studios doubted him, he took matters into his own hands, writing and directing a short film that landed him his first big break in Saving Private Ryan. But he wanted more than just fame, he wanted domination. When The Fast and the Furious exploded, Diesel made sure he became the face of the franchise, shaping his image as the fearless, family-driven action hero. Behind the scenes, he clashed with co-stars and demanded script changes to protect his tough guy reputation. He turned Vin Diesel into a brand built on loyalty, intensity, and unshakable control. Some called it ego, others called it strategy. Every move he made was calculated to keep him at the top of the action world. For Vin Diesel, fame wasn't something to chase, it was something to own, no matter what it cost. 12. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes went from martial arts prodigy to one of the biggest action stars of the 90s. Movies like Blade and Demolition Man turned him into a powerhouse. But Snipes wasn't satisfied with fame, he wanted total independence. He started his own production company and fought for creative control, determined to do things his way. Yet, that hunger for power came with risks. He refused roles that didn't meet his vision, clashed with directors, and built a reputation for being difficult on set. Then came the shocking twist, tax evasion charges that sent him behind bars and nearly ended his career. For Snipes, fame was never just about recognition, it was about freedom. He wanted to prove he could beat the system, but the system fought back hard. When he finally returned to Hollywood, he carried the scars of ambition gone too far, a reminder that even the strongest action hero can't outrun his own mistakes. 11. Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris didn't just become famous, he became a living legend. Long before the internet made him a meme, Norris built his image through discipline, martial arts, mastery, and clever self-promotion. He wasn't the loudest or flashiest action star, but he understood something others didn't. Branding himself as unstoppable would make him unforgettable. He built his career around an image of absolute toughness, turning Walker, Texas Ranger, into a global phenomenon. When the internet later exploded with Chuck Norris facts, instead of rejecting it, he embraced the jokes. He turned mockery into marketing gold, transforming himself into a pop culture icon. But behind the jokes was a man obsessed with perfection, training endlessly, mastering his image, and keeping his reputation spotless. Chuck Norris didn't just play the hero. He became one in the minds of millions, proving that fame favors those who know exactly how to shape their story. 10. Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson's fame was built on charisma and chaos. In the 80s and 90s, he ruled the box office with Mad Max and Lethal Weapon. But Gibson's rise wasn't just about talent, it was about how far he'd go to stay relevant. Behind the camera, he took bold, creative risks, directing brutal films like Braveheart and The Passion of the Christ. Yet his personal life often overshadowed his work. Outbursts, scandals, and fiery statements threatened to destroy his reputation. But somehow, Gibson used the controversy to fuel attention. Each downfall became another reason people couldn't look away. He walked the fine line between genius and self-destruction, refusing to play safe or apologize for his extremes. For Mel Gibson, fame wasn't about being loved, it was about being remembered, even if it meant burning bridges in the process. 9. Jason Statham. Before becoming Hollywood's go-to tough guy, Jason Statham lived a life that felt ripped straight from a crime movie. He grew up in a working-class London neighborhood, hustling fake jewelry on street corners and diving for spare change in swimming pools to make ends meet. When a film director spotted him during a modeling gig, Statham's raw energy and real-life grit landed him his first role in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. From there, he dove headfirst into action, doing his own stunts, perfecting his fight style, and carving out a unique persona as the no-nonsense action hero who doesn't need special effects to look dangerous. Unlike many stars who relied on polish or image, Statham's authenticity became his brand. He didn't fake toughness, he lived it. Every scar, every fall, and every stunt built his reputation as a man who'd do anything to earn his place in Hollywood's action elite. 8. Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal's story is one of speed, secrets, and raw ambition. Before stepping into Hollywood, he worked as a martial arts instructor and even claimed mysterious government ties. When he finally hit the big screen, he didn't just act, he controlled everything around him. From his first major role in Above the Law, Seagal projected dominance both on and off the set. He used his mystique to build power in Hollywood, intimidating co-stars, rewriting scripts, and spreading stories that blurred the line between fact and fiction. Seagal crafted an image of invincibility, and people believed it, at least for a while. But his ego soon overshadowed his talent. Rumors of abusive behavior, manipulation, and bizarre claims began to surface, and his empire started to crack. Still, Seagal's hunger for fame never faded. He moved to foreign markets, befriended politicians, and reinvented himself as an international action icon. For Seagal, fame wasn't about art, it was about control, and he'd do anything to keep it. 7. Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan's road to stardom was paved with blood, bruises, and broken bones. Long before he became an international legend, Chan trained under brutal conditions in the Peking Opera School, enduring years of physical punishment and relentless discipline. When he entered the movie world, he didn't want to be just another Bruce Lee copy. He wanted to create something unique. To stand out, he combined comedy with dangerous, real stunts that left audiences gasping. He jumped from rooftops, crashed through glass, and fought with everything from ladders to chandeliers, all without stunt doubles. The result? Dozens of injuries, including a near-fatal skull fracture. But that pain became his trademark. He transformed suffering into spectacle, winning over fans around the world. Jackie Chan didn't chase fame through glamour. He earned it through fearless creativity and sacrifice. Every fall and every scar told the story of a man who refused to fake anything for fame. 6. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Dwayne Johnson's rise wasn't luck, it was a masterclass in self-promotion. After struggling in football and wrestling, he built a brand around pure charisma and relentless positivity. But behind that smile was a sharp strategist who turned his name into a global empire. When Hollywood first doubted him, Johnson transformed himself literally. He changed his look, studied film marketing, and built a social media empire to stay connected with fans. Every post, every movie choice, every workout video was part of a calculated plan. He didn't just act in movies, he produced them, promoted them, and even shaped his characters to fit his growing image of strength, family, and determination. Unlike many stars who waited for opportunities, The Rock created them. He turned himself into a brand so powerful that studios began building entire franchises around him. Dwayne Johnson didn't just become famous, he engineered fame like a business, proving that in today's Hollywood, ambition can be more powerful than luck. 5. Bruce Willis. Before Die Hard made him a global sensation, Bruce Willis was far from an action hero. He was a struggling bartender who dreamed of acting but kept getting rejected for being too ordinary. When he finally landed a TV role in Moonlighting, it gave him recognition but not respect. Hollywood didn't see him as an action star. That changed when he fought to play John McClane, a part originally turned down by big names. Willis took the gamble, and it worked. Die Hard didn't just make him famous, it redefined the modern action hero. He wasn't muscle-bound or invincible, he was flawed, funny, and human. But fame came with a price. Willis pushed himself hard, chasing hit after hit, taking risky roles, and demanding top pay to prove his worth. Behind the cool smirk was a man determined never to go unnoticed again. Every explosion, every one-liner, every role screamed defiance. Bruce Willis didn't wait for Hollywood's approval, he forced it, proving that sometimes you have to play the game your own way to win. 4. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise built his fame on danger both on screen and off. Early in his career, he refused to be just another good-looking star. He wanted to do it all. From hanging off planes to climbing skyscrapers, Cruise performed his own stunts to prove he wasn't acting, he was living the action. But his obsession went far beyond movies. Cruise became known for his intensity, his drive for perfection, and his personal connections that sparked endless headlines. He studied every part of the business production, marketing, publicity, turning himself into a one-man machine built for fame. Even when controversies threatened to end his career, Cruise refused to fade. He reinvented himself again and again, each time returning stronger and bolder. His determination wasn't just about success, it was about control, discipline, and proving that no one could outwork him. Tom Cruise didn't just risk his body for fame, he risked everything, and that's what made him unstoppable. 3. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme's story is pure grit. Born in Belgium, he grew up dreaming of Hollywood, but had no connections, no money, and barely spoke English. When he finally moved to Los Angeles, he worked odd jobs, bouncer, limo driver, even carpet cleaner, while sneaking into studios just to get noticed. Desperation pushed him to extremes. Legend has it he once performed a flying kick right in front of a producer's car just to prove his talent. That crazy stunt worked, and soon he was cast in Bloodsport, the film that made him a global star. But Van Damme's hunger for fame came with a dark-side ego, rivalry, and an exhausting pace of work that led to burnout and addiction. Still, he fought back with the same intensity that made him famous. His rise wasn't polished, it was painful, sweaty, and brutally earned. Jean-Claude Van Damme didn't wait for luck. He kicked down Hollywood's door to make his name. 2. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger's path to fame wasn't just about lifting weights. It was about lifting himself out of obscurity by any means necessary. Born in a small Austrian village, he dreamed of America before he could even speak English. Determined to become the biggest bodybuilder in the world, he trained with an obsession that bordered on madness. Sleep, pain, and even injury meant nothing to him if it brought him closer to his goal. When he arrived in Hollywood, directors mocked his accent and massive physique. But Arnold refused to quit. He studied acting, networked relentlessly, and promoted himself everywhere he could. Then came Conan the Barbarian and the Terminator, and his world exploded. Yet even then, his drive didn't stop. He built an empire in business, politics, and entertainment. Arnold's ambition was unmatched. He wasn't afraid to manipulate, compete, or outshine anyone standing in his way. Every move was calculated, every smile strategic. His rise proved one thing: success doesn't come from luck, it comes from an unbreakable will to win, no matter what it takes. 1. Sylvester Stallone. Before Rocky made him a symbol of perseverance, Sylvester Stallone was living at rock bottom. He had only a few dollars to his name, was sleeping in a bus station, and had to sell his dog just to buy food. But he refused to give up on his dream. When he wrote Rocky, he turned down multiple offers that demanded he sell the script without acting in it. Everyone told him he was crazy, but Stallone stood firm. That stubbornness changed his life. He got his wish, starred in Rocky, and became an overnight sensation. The film's success mirrored his own story, a fighter who refused to stay down. But Stallone's hunger didn't stop there. He pushed his body to extremes for roles, wrote his own scripts, and turned his career into a personal crusade for survival and respect. He proved that fame sometimes comes only to those willing to risk everything. Sylvester Stallone didn't just act like a fighter, he lived like one, clawing his way to the top through sheer willpower and pain. Fame isn't just about talent, it's about sacrifice, obsession, and the willingness to go farther than anyone else dares. These action stars bled, broke, and battled for every ounce of recognition they earned. Some found glory, others paid the price, but all of them proved that fame never comes free. But it makes you wonder, how far would you go to be remembered? If you enjoyed uncovering the untold struggles behind the world's toughest stars, don't forget to hit subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next deep dive into Hollywood's hidden stories.